Grateful for everybody's participation. People didn't just show up, you really participated. And I think a pretty dynamic topic as it turns out. And very important in each and all of our lives, regardless of whether we're dealing with a psychiatric condition. But it's, I think for consumers in particular, it's something we have a deep interest in. And I think it makes sense from both a policy and a cost effectiveness perspective. I think what Bob is saying and what I would say is on the medication side, if you do engage people's preferences, they're less likely to choose some of the higher costing medications. There won't be that bias. They'll choose some of the lower costing medications that maybe don't, because they're not trying to avoid obesity, and maybe they can tolerate a little more fatigue or whatever. But it kind of balances that out. So I'm big into cost savings. So that's one of the things that really makes it exciting for me. So I thought this was a great first steps. Clearly this is complex. There's a lot of information. It's not a linear process, I'll say, for approaching this. So I think there'll be a number of things going on, and we at CQI are committed to this particular topic and seeing it through. It'll never be totally through, but I think seeing it through in terms of people actively in the provider community, policy community, taking it on. As Mary Ellen said, one of the things we're doing is we're going to put together a website, something we thought about, let me introduce Lynn Lemke. She helped me coordinate this conference. Great job. So this is something Lynn came up with actually, so I'm going to put it on her. But we'll have materials from this conference. We'll have links. We haven't fully thought it through yet, but it'll be a live website. The thing that really strikes me when I hear people talk is about the schools. Whether it be for psychiatrists, psychologists, caseworkers. So what kind of schooling are people going through, and what's driving their approaches and attitudes? Is it partly based on schooling? Is it based on discussions with other staff people? I'm kind of interested in how people, I think it's a culture too that really, often it's a culture, and culture is sort of an amorphous thing, but there are things that can affect the culture, going to leadership, and going back to what I said earlier. But the schooling piece, I think, is big too, because I think sometimes people come in philosophically with a different approach, and they're behind the 8 ball. So think about that. And as I said about the psychiatric emergency services, I think that's something we're going to keep our eye on to see how it works, and because I think there's potential for real dynamic promotion of shared decision making in a situation where there often isn't. And my hope is that over time, I don't think this is going to happen right away, that this is something peer specialists can really, that would be maybe even their major role in my thinking, is getting the person comfortable, orienting them, and helping them through it. They would be seen as a real guide for the person. And obviously, I'm not the first person to think of this. It just sort of crystallizes for me around shared decision making. So I'm grateful that DMH and Mary Ellen has co-sponsored this summit with us. And I think with all your involvement, this will, I think, move forward into whatever we do in the future. I heard a lot of enthusiasm from people here today and about their interest and commitment to seeing this in psychiatry, psychology, employment, case management, and CBFS. So I think I learned about different tools that are out there that I didn't know about. So I always think, I guess for me, you need a central place where at least some of this information is linked up. And we can try to be that, as best we can, that central place, like the shared decision-making and mental health place in Massachusetts. And that's going to require effort to collect. I mean, Lori Burgess has her tools. We could have a link to Pat's website. We even have some updated articles. So I think that's something we'll try to do. And for the white paper, there's a lot to sift through. I don't think this is going to be like do 1, 2, 3, or 4. I think it's more about these are the issues that we have to think about, the most important issues, and this is maybe how we can address it. So I really want to thank everybody. Thank you and have a good evening. Safe travels.